Hi everyone, welcome to UTV Gooner and our show the Shooting Lone Star with Ram from the Austin Gooners. Hey bro, how are you?
Hey man, doing good. Premier League season kicks off already, and we're a weekend. MLS, they took like a break to do like a tournament with like the Mexican League, and Austin FC has been out for like 3 weeks. So it's like we kind of had like a break. So this weekend, MLS kicks back on for most of the teams. So and then like I think Bundesliga kicks off, Serie A kicks off. Um, Premier League is like the main one, and MLS like the main one I pay attention to. But like this weekend, it feels like it's just like another opening weekend for just a bunch of leagues, and it's just constant football on my TV, man. I'm so excited. So, yeah, man, it's good. I'm excited, bro. I'm ready to go again.
Yeah, bro. First game in now. Exciting times, but it's been a difficult week for us with that news that came out with Timber. Really sad news. He's been looking so good through preseason. I'm really excited to see him in the team. Unfortunately, got this injury. It's going to keep him out for a long time. Not sure how long exactly yet. Nothing's been confirmed, but it looks like it is going to be quite a long-term injury.
Mhm.
Really sad news, bro.
Yeah, man, Urian Timber. I'm looking on FOTMob right now, and it says late January 2024. Obviously, that's kind of far away. We don't know. I haven't really looked into like specific updates ever since I heard it was an ACL, just because like that's just kind of hard to tell. You know what I mean? Like it all depends on like the extent of the injury and the damage, and then recovery, and then building up to fitness. And so that's just always like a sliding scale. You know what I mean? Like it just all depends on the player, right? And if he can stick with it, and if there's any setbacks or what have you. So who knows, right? For all intents and purposes, it's kind of like assume he's out for pretty much the entire season, which is heartbreaking, man. Because I think I even said basically last week, like I'm so excited about this guy because, um, he just kind of fits into every single position we need in the back end. Uh, we signed him for depth, but it was almost like he was starting to essentially take over as a starting position. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's kind of like a kick in the gut, man. It's like we're kind of back to square one in that position. Although I think we're going to be okay ultimately, but this hurts, and it really, yeah, man, it just hurts. I don't even know kind of how to like. Don't need to elaborate on it. I feel for him. I feel for the team, and it's just like I don't know, man. It sucks.
Yeah, bro. Injuries are part of sports, as we know. It's just so sad when it happens like that. First game of the season. It's sad at any time, obviously, but it's even more sad in this situation. New player, excited to have him in our team, and then this goes and happens in the first game. But yeah, what can we do? Just wish him the best of luck. Hopefully, it's a speedy recovery for him. In terms of the transfer market now for his position, do you think we need to go in and look to get another defender in? We do have some
Hmm.
options. Yasu's back now from his injury. Tini's still with us. Not sure what's going on with him, if he's going to stay or go. But like, with this injury now, might be more reason to keep him. Or what would you look to do in this situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think because yeah, on one hand, it's almost like we're back to square one to where we were without him, right? There's a whole reason why we brought him in was because everybody we had, or considering everybody we already had in the defensive end, um, we needed another person, right? Now that other person is out. Um, but I have a feeling unless like we make a lot of sales to go out, like there's been some talk of like already Nuno Tavares, like he might go out for like a decent fee. I think if we can't get whether we decide to bring anybody in or not, I think it's still going to hinge on we're going to definitely see a lot more outgoings first, whether it's Kieran Tierney, whether it's Nuno Tavares and Rob Holding. Um, I think with the Timber injury, like there's a little bit more. Um, I guess what's the word? Urgency to maybe move that up to the forefront and get somebody, whether it's a loan or I don't think like I just there's so much scouting and so much work that gets put into like getting a guy like Yuri and Timber in. Like you don't want the team to kind of get real desperate and just bring a body in. Like, because then what good does that do if like A, he's not like he doesn't fit our system or he doesn't adapt very well. So I mean, yeah, the team has a lot of work to do. My personal opinion, I think we should bring in somebody at the very least like on a loan. Um, but ultimately I think it just depends on how much we can bring in terms of like sales and then who goes out. Like if we end up already selling Kieran Tierney, well then I think for sure. I think here's what I think. If Kieran Tierney gets sold, then there's already something in the works to bring somebody in. So yeah, I personally think we need to bring somebody in though, whether it's somebody starter worthy or like somebody on loan. But yeah, I think we need to bring in somebody to kind of hold the fort, if you will.
Yeah, I think that too. I do think we need to get someone in because that was the thing where we were talking about the squad depth, and we saw last season injuries to Saliba towards the end of the season. That, that injury to Saliba really cost us towards the end of the season. So I know with Timber, he was playing on the right back or left back, but he was also an option to play at centre back as well. He had that versatility. So it's hard because who do you go get now? It's late in the transfer window, and Timber's a really high level player. So who are we going to be able to go get? But let's see what they can do. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully, the defenders that we do have in them positions stay injury free now. Zinchenko, he has been quite injury prone in recent times. Hopefully, he will have no injury concerns. And Ben White on the right side, he's been doing brilliant there. So hopefully, he'll be all right as well. I mean, as I say, Tomiyasu's come back from his injury. But let's see what happens. Talking about transfer news, before we go into the Nottingham Forest game, I wanted to ask you your thoughts on the Raya deal being confirmed. Spoke about it last week, but it wasn't confirmed. I mean, it has now been confirmed. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's incredible the kind of the pool we have with players right now, right? Like he mentioned, or word was out there that, he wanted to come to Arsenal. And, I don't know exactly what coaches and what have you like promise players when they're looking around. Like I don't know if he promised them, oh, you're gonna end up being the number one, but um I think it elevates the position. I don't know how much I went into it last week, but as much as I love Matt Turner and I think he's a great shot stopper, he just doesn't necessarily fit 100% with what Arteta wants to do with his goalkeepers, namely like playing with his feet a lot and kind of coming forward away from the goalkeeper spot, almost act as like an extra defender, if you will, or just get the ball down the pitch or just distribute everywhere. And Raya's not exactly like Ramsdale, but a little bit more of like that modern goalkeeper type of thing that goalkeepers are moving towards. So I just think it elevates the position overall, and we got two number ones that are going to compete to be the number one, and the fact that it's a loan deal with an option to buy, um, I think it just kind of it's sort of like what we did with Odegaard, like where we got him on loan, got a chance to kind of see how he fits in with the system. And then by the end of the loan deal, it was like, oh, we love this guy. Let's keep him. Um, so I think that's what it's going to be like with David Raya. Who knows if it turns out the same as with Odegaard, like if it becomes our number one. But I'll sum it up with my initial thought when I heard he was linked, and then we're ending up signing him is whether it's David Raya or Aaron Ramsdale, one of them's going to stay with us, and one of them will ultimately leave. Um, so I think, and I think it's just, I don't think Arteta doesn't trust Ramsdale. I think he trusts him 100%. But, Arteta's idea is to have two number ones at every single position. And I think with Matt Turner, he wasn't necessarily there. Um, David Raya is certainly a number one. He was with Brentford for a long time. So I just think it just makes. I think that's why ultimately, even with Yuri and Timber out, and it's heartbreaking, but I think we're strong in so many positions that we're gonna cope. And I think this is just a sign of that. So I think it just makes us better overall.
Yeah, I tell you, I mentioned in his press conference that he wants that competition for places, that no one can take their place for granted. And yeah, I think it's a good thing. I heard Peter Schmeichel talking about like that goalkeeper position. There shouldn't really be that competition there. It should be like just having a number one. I mean, like a
Mhm.
backup option, but in that for that position specifically. But I think it's a good thing. We know we've got a lot of games, and like hopefully there is no injury. But if there was an injury to Ramsdale, then it's great to have a world class backup option, and vice versa. If it was Raya, he's going to go with later down the line as his number one, and then he got injured. It's great to have Ramda as a backup option. So yeah, I think it's only a good thing. It's going to strengthen the squad. So let's talk about Nottingham Forest now, bro. Great first half, really dominant. I was surprised with the lineup. I'll ask you your thoughts about that. Different lineup to what we thought he'd go with when I was speaking to you on last week's show and we're predicting what he might go with. Got the job done in the first half. I thought we really played well, dominant, got a 2 goal lead. Second half, we dropped off a little bit. Got to give Nottingham Forest credit. They did play well. They made it difficult for us. They managed to get a great goal on the break. Like, that was a really good goal.
Yeah.
The pace on the break from that counter attack was amazing. So they got their goal, and then they made it tricky for the last 15 minutes or so. But you know, they didn't have anything clear cut after that. That was really worrying. So it looks like it was a really close game when you see 2-1 as a scoreline. But we were the dominant team, deserved our win. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Shit. The lineup, man. I think the lineup discussions were very easy last year, and I think they're going to be just that much more difficult this year. Um, but the word that I go back to is with unpredictable, is what Arteta said, right? And I think right from the first match, uh, that's what he wanted to be. And I mean, completely unpredictable. Um, we didn't see Gabriel, who I think started 73 straight matches in the Premier League, and he got sat for this one. Came in a little bit. That's probably like the only thing where I'm a little bit worried about is I hope he wasn't like carrying an injury, or I don't think it has anything to do with like him not being favored by Arteta. I think it was mostly just tactical. Um, and I thought it worked very well. I think my thought was initially like, okay, because what it ended up being was we kind of had like a back three with White, Saliba, and Timber. And Thomas Partey was kind of like drifting forward or whatever. And we were like really, especially in that first half, like attack, 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 right? Because Nottingham Forest was just kind of sitting back and forcing us to have like an incredible moment to score some goals, which we did ultimately, right? Like, I mean, we got two great goals by, Eddie Nketiah and Saka, worldies, bro. Incredible goals. But yeah, I mean the lineup I thought was pretty legit. I thought it worked. So I mean, I'm not gonna like, and again, my tactical knowledge is not like where it probably should be ultimately. Like it's getting better, but like I saw what he wanted, right? I mean, that's the impression I got was like, okay, we're gonna be doing nothing but attacking. We don't necessarily to be like, Saliba and Gabriel are like our brick wall at the back, right? So if we're facing teams that are going to really attack us, I'm pretty sure he would have gone a different route. But Nottingham Forest away, with the kind of guys that we have attacking, he guessed right, and what they were doing, I think it fit. We were able to do it. Um, but yeah, I think everybody kind of did well in their position. We saw Tomiyasu come in the 50th minute. I thought he did pretty decently for just being called into action. Um, and then Leandro Trossard, man, he didn't really score anything or do anything. But I mean, he just looked so good coming off the bench. And I hope he ultimately earned this place in the starting lineup because I think like he's just that good. But I did want to kind of like make a comparison, or the comparison I've been making all week was like a cross sports comparison. And if I think of my San Antonio Spurs back in the day, Manu Ginobili was an incredible player, right, for Argentina. Didn't come off the bench for the national team, but came off the bench his entire career with the San Antonio Spurs, and it was always exactly what they needed. Uh, any other team he would have played for, he probably would have started, but with the Spurs, his role was like a spark plug, and I think that's what Trossard does for you. So I think he hit it right with all the subs. And then geez, man, Martinelli with the back heel pass to Nketiah. Nketiah, man, anytime he scores, he's a starter. So I mean, he did his job. And Bukayo Saka, man, what can I say about that boy, man? Like superstar in the making, man. That goal was just absolutely spectacular. And Jesus, man, um, lucky we got them boys up front.
Yeah, special players we have in Martinelli and Saka. Wow, they're two. Just they're just gonna get better and better. I'd say at the moment, looking around the world in their positions, I can't think of too many players that you'd put ahead of them. They're definitely right up there. Like Vinicius, left wing. I know he's ahead of Martinelli for Brazil, but Martinelli's coming. Like Vinicius, I'm hopeful Martinelli can get to that level soon. So and with Saka, superstar. I can't think of a better right winger right now in the world. Not
Yeah, maybe if anything, um, Mo Salah, but I mean, just because of the pedigree already that he's built up. But I mean, Saka's right behind him if he is better than him, you know.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Let
But
me ask you this though. Let me ask you this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
that's fine.
Martinelli, that back heel. Do you think he did it on purpose?
Yeah, bro. You can see like he knew we had Nketiah there, so that the way he done it is, sometimes you can tell when it's like by accident, it will just happen, or that sometimes you don't aim it precisely. You just put it into
Hmm.
an area. You put it into an area and hope that one of our players would be there. But I think he did see Nketiah was there, and he did. On,
Yeah. My theory is like I think maybe he was hopefully hoping he would get some contact and maybe get fouled. But yeah, I don't think it. I do think it was on purpose. Um, but yeah, I mean, because a lot of those things they're not necessarily like it's not like he was planning. Oh, I'm going to use this move right now. It's like a lot of times they just act on instinct. You know what I mean? So I think that was just one of those like instinct because I did, and I wish I could. I wish I saved it on Twitter, but I saw somewhere like somebody put a compilation together, and that's not the first time he's done that move. He's done it in different areas of the pitch and like different outcomes. But I think what you just said, like where he saw Nketiah there, and he just said like, all right, well, worst case, somebody, worst case, a defender maybe just clears it, but it was still a great pass, and Eddie Nketiah was in the right spot and incredible shot and everything like that, man. But yeah, I just wanted to see get your opinion because I was just like that was for a lot. I think when it first happened, we were just everybody around the bar like, "Yo, did he do that on purpose?" Because like that's saucy, bro. It's incredible.
Uh, Superstar in his work rate. It's amazing. But both him and Saka, the way they work down the wings, it really helps us defensively. And yeah, bro, it's great times for us. Before we go into the game against Crystal Palace coming up and this round of Premier League fixtures, wanting to get your overall thoughts on the big games from that first round of fixtures. So we saw Man City with a dominant win against Burnley. As we know, they are a really good team. As expected, they're going to be the team to beat this season. We know how strong the team is. They just won the treble. They just won
Mhm.
another trophy as well, wasn't it? The UEFA Super League. So they're going. I think they're going for 6 trophies this year. If you got the World Club Championship as well, plus the other 4.
Mm.
So yeah, but, hopefully that's a lot of game time for them. So that
Yeah.
a lot out of them as well. Like we'll get into it. They got Newcastle this weekend. They just played that UEFA Super League game, and then yeah, I think around January. No, sorry, around the December time they'll be going for the World Club Championship as well. So again, that's a lot of extra fixtures they'll have to go through. So that could affect them, but they do look really strong. We saw Chelsea against Liverpool. That one finished 1-1. Good game, good quality. You can see both teams do have a lot of quality there. We saw Tottenham with without Harry Kane, beginning life without Harry Kane for them. They got a 2-2 draw against Brentford, and we saw Man United, I thought struggled. Wolves should have had a penalty. I don't know what's going on with VAR. It's ridiculous what's going on there. But that should have been a penalty, and they were lucky to get a 1-0 win. But yeah, what was your overall thoughts with opening round of fixtures and some of our main competitors?
Yeah, yeah, it was a big surprising weekend, a lot of exciting matches. Newcastle surprised me.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I keep leaving Newcastle out. It's a couple of other videos I've done, and same thing. I forgot to mention Newcastle. Yeah, I didn't actually see their game, but I saw some highlights, and yeah, obviously I saw the result. Massive win.
yeah,
Aston Villa team as well. So yeah, that's another one as well. Sorry to
yeah.
Newcastle fans, but I forgot to mention them.
Yeah, surprising, man. I mean, they're top of the table right now in one game, but Newcastle looked good, which was surprising to me because I specifically was like, I don't know if Newcastle is going to be able to carry the torch from last season. It's one match, but Villa can do that. I feel like they come out and have terrible matches and then they come out and play well. Newcastle did look good though, and like I watched a little bit of that match, and so I was like, okay, impressive. City is City right now, although I think it's good that I'm not good. Well, I mean, good for us and good for the league, but Kevin De Bruyne might be out for a little bit, so I think that opens up a little bit of the competition. Yeah, as you said with United and Wolves. Oh man, like Wolves are a terrible shooting team, man. Like they're not clinical at all to save their life. And they should have gotten lucky with a penalty. Um and United, I mean, United, that was a good goal that they had. I think Varane scored. But I think overall they struggled and they did not look very something about United, man. They got so much talent and they spend so much money on players individually, and it's just. Uh, I mean, I understand Ten Hag is like a tactical genius or supposed to be, but I don't know. There's just no soul to that team, and it just doesn't feel like they're ever gelling together. So yeah, Tottenham, I felt like they just got lucky. Brentford, a little bit sloppy. I watched. That's the game that I watched, and yeah, I was just kind of back and forth, a little bit frustrating. The Chelsea Liverpool one, I thought first half was like incredible football. I was like, okay, like this is good to watch. Um, but I thought the second half was very, very poor, very boring. Um, but as you know, Chelsea's bringing in a ton of players. So we'll see. You never know with that. So I thought it was a good first half, very boring second half. So kind of like 50-50. I don't really even know. But yeah, those are the big matches, man. And I think, yeah, I mean, first, and even like going back to our match, if you went back to last year in our opening game against Crystal Palace, even though we won 2-0, we scored early. And then there was this long stretch in the middle where it could have gone either way. Crystal Palace had their chances. We had our chances. Crystal Palace, you could probably argue that they played better overall, and then we just kind of closed it out in the final minutes. Um, won 2-0, and it was maybe a little bit closer than that 2-0 looked. This year, we came out big 2-0 to lead the match. Our recent history, of course, like we were a little nervous, like, oh, like please don't give it up. So yeah, that second goal or that first goal made it a little bit precarious toward the end. Um, but yeah, a lot of we'll just say like a lot of matches that sure, teams look good, teams look bad, but um 37 matches to go. So I don't think anybody obviously I don't it's too early to even say this, but I don't think anybody pulled away from the bunch, but it was just exciting and spectacular overall and ready for week 2.
Yeah, bro. So let's talk about week 2, starting with our game. We're playing last on a Monday night, and it is against Crystal Palace away. As you were just mentioning, the result last season, we got that 2-0 win on the opening day of the season. It's always difficult going to Selhurst Park. The atmosphere, it's a night game, it's a London derby, but very confident we should be able to go there and get the win. And gonna be interested to see what lineup Arteta decides to go with. With it being an away game, I think it is likely that Gabriel will come back in because Palace will attack, obviously, being at home, crowd behind him. I'm sure we're not just going to sit back. So, yeah, first I want to ask you your thoughts on the lineup. What do you go with? What do you predict we're going to do? Thoughts on Palace, dangers they pose, and your correct score prediction.
Yeah, I think we'll go back to like our regular back four, and we'll see Gabriel and Saliba back there, Ben White, and who I don't know. I guess that left back is going to be a big question mark, right? Like who's going back there? I kind of hope to see Zinchenko back there, um,
In
with
training,
Tomiyasu.
yeah, from
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I've seen, he's in training. So I don't know if it's too soon because he's not had much of a pre-season, but yeah, otherwise, I think yeah, if he's not ready, man, probably go with Tomiyasu.
yeah. So we'll see who gets to start. Um, and then I'm thinking in the midfield, like I liked who we had last week with well, we had kind of figured out a way to get Thomas Partey in there and Declan Rice and Odegaard. And we also had Kai Havertz in there playing the middle, which I don't think he played bad. I don't think he played great. I think another middle of the road match. I think that's going to be a really difficult role to kind of get used to. But I guess we'll say, the back four. Let's just say Zinchenko gets to start, right? So back four is that, Ramsdale in goal. I think midfield we go, the skipper. I think we go Declan Rice again, and I kind of think we go with the Thomas Partey, right? Maybe Kai Havertz gets the bench part, the first off the bench, and then up front. Um, I don't think you bench Eddie Nketiah because he just scored. So I think we see Nketiah, Martinelli, Saka up front. And then our first guys off the bench, Trossard, Kai Havertz, and depending on where we are score-wise, a defender, maybe somebody like between Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, whichever one starts, the other one gets the first off the bench. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think so yeah, let me start over from the beginning. We got Ramsdale, Gabby, Saliba. I'm gonna say Zinchenko. I'm gonna say Ben White, and then Thomas Partey, uh, Declan Rice, Odegaard, and then Nketiah, Saka, Martinelli. And then what was the next question? Oh,
Yes.
Palace, right? You said away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like so Palace away again. They do attack a little bit more um than someone like Nottingham Forest. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult place to play. It's going to be Monday night football, so they're going to be up for it. They do have. I thought that one guy, Ezzy, was going to go off to Chelsea, but it looks like he's staying and he's extending his contract. So that makes them a little bit more dangerous. They did lose Wilfred Zaha, which I think is going to hurt them in the long run. But they're a very
No, well
dangerous
against us.
team. The
So,
what?
so I say he always normally plays well against us as well. So happy to not see him
Yeah,
for him. That is good.
exactly. I love him as a player. I've always wanted him, like ever since he was linked to us, with the Unai Emery days. Yeah, he just always had a worldie against us. So hopefully that works in our favor. But I think it'll be another close match in terms of like back and forth in terms of chances and just they're going to play us difficult. But I think we comfortably win again 2-0. I think we have a mentally stronger team, and I think we're going to rally behind that Timber injury, and we're just going to continue to get better because again, I think we played exceptionally well against Nottingham Forest, maybe except for like a 10-minute spell. So I think we're going to build on that. And that previous game was a perfect coaching game in terms of got a lot of good play, but lots of stuff to work on. And so we can't rest on a 2-1 win at home. So I think we build on that again. And I think we come out strong and win 2-0.
Okay. Hopefully we can get that win. But I'm going for 3-1. All right, bro. So let's preview some of the other games this weekend, starting with Liverpool and Bournemouth.
I think Liverpool dominates, plays much better than Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth is doesn't they're not going to be able to keep up with Liverpool. So I think it's going to be like 3-0.
Okay, yeah, I think it'll be a comfortable Liverpool win. I'm going to go 3-0 as well. Big game, the Saturday evening game, Tottenham versus Man United.
That's going to be exciting to watch. A couple of teams that I hope both fail. Um, I don't know. I don't think either of them are going to separate from each other to get the 3 points. So it's going to be like a draw. I predict another 2-2 draw.
Okay,
I
I'm
just
gonna,
don't. I just don't see like anybody like playing better than the other one.
yeah, I think it'll be a tight game. I'm gonna go 1-1. Then I say Saturday evening game is another game on Saturday, Saturday night game. Not rarely they do a late game on Saturday, but yeah, 8 p.m. kickoff. It's Man City versus Newcastle.
Whew, incredible match, man. Especially early in the season. That's incredible. To I hope. Yeah, I hope the fireworks are spectacular for that match. I'm really excited about that one. Um, both of them. I mean, Newcastle. As much as I doubted them last week, I kind of want them to put a nail into Man City's hopes early on. I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be like a 2-2 draw. I think Manchester City struggles a little bit early on without Kevin De Bruyne. But I don't think Newcastle is going to hit. I don't think they're going to have a 5 goal outburst like they did against Villa. I think Villa is just that kind of team that has a stinker. Um, City's going to prove to be much more difficult to score against, so I think it's going to be like 2-2. I don't want either team to win. I need them to drop points, so I'm going to go for the draw.
Okay, we're going for very similar predictions this week. I'm going to draw as well, and I'm going for 2-2 in that one.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
Man City must have taken something out of them playing midweek, big match like that, going to penalties, the traveling involved. It was really hot conditions as well in Greece.
Yeah, yeah.
Really hot. Players were finding it difficult. So I think that's going to take a bit of recovery time. And then having this big game against Newcastle so close to it, I can see them not being at their best. And Newcastle have been flying. So yeah, 2-2 draw will suit us nicely. Both teams dropping points. And then one more on the Sunday, another big game. London Derby, West Ham versus Chelsea.
Oh, um, that's gonna be difficult, man. Chelsea is gonna be a very how do you call it? An just a I guess interesting would be the best word I can think of. Like to see again spending so much money in this transfer window, bringing in so many players. Are they actually gonna like gel and do well? Again, I thought they did good in the first half against Liverpool. Second half, not so much. West Ham United 1-1 against Bournemouth. They don't look very well. Like, I mean, they're not exciting. I haven't watched them. I didn't watch that match. Um, West Ham are at home though, so they play difficult at home. Um, I'm gonna predict a win. I'm gonna predict 2-1 West Ham just because I don't think Chelsea has that killer instinct just yet.
Okay. Yeah, bro. And again, another great round of fixtures. Some really good games. And it's the Premier League. We've got so much competition, such excitement. Every round there's big games. Looking forward to speaking to you on next week's show. Hopefully discussing another win for our boys. Thanks for your time today, bro.
Hey, my pleasure, man. And come on, you Gunners, let's get them.
Yeah, come
Let's
on.
go.
So that's all from us, everyone. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.